Okay guys, it's that Icast time of year, and that means I'm going to go over all the tackle unveiled at this year's Icast show that I found interesting. So of course, we're going to start out with Shimano. Now this year Shimano didn't give us any leaks before the show like they did last year with the CURADO DC and the SLX. But it turns out that I've been inadvertently leaking two of the reels in my previous videos. So let's start out with the winner of the Best Freshwater Reel Award, and that is the SLX DC. Now Shimano keeps getting more radical every year, and just when I thought they couldn't get it any more radical with last year's CURADO DC, they keep proving me wrong by introducing the SLX DC. Now I made a short video about the SLX DC a few weeks ago, and based on that one picture that was available, I thought the SLX DC was just a repainted and rebadged CURADO DC for an overseas market, but I was wrong. The SLX DC actually uses the super tiny compact SLX frame. It adds an extra bearing and the DC brakes. Now it's going to have the same IDC4 unit as the CURADO DC, but I'm wondering if Shimano gave it a different programming so that it won't outcast the CURADO, but only field testing is going to sort that out. So this means you get the same brake settings. You get 4 different settings, 1 for extreme distance, 2 for braid and mono, 3 for fluorocarbon, and 4 for windy conditions or for skipping. And it's all going to be accessible from the external dial, just like the CURADO DC. Now you're going to get the same 3 gear ratios from the standard SLX, and it will be available in left and right hand retrieve. Now the only other thing that I see styling wise that's a little different is a chrome trim piece on the handle side plate. Now the best part of the SLX DC, and its most radical in my opinion, is the price. It's only $189. I never thought I would see the day that a brand new DC reel would cost less than $200. So that means it's going to cost a whopping $60 less than the CURADO DC, and it's only going to be $10 more than the CURADO K. So this is kind of a strange move by Shimano, because the CURADO K and the CURADO DC are apparently some of their best-selling reels. And this SLX DC is surely going to cannibalize sales of both reels in my opinion. Now the release dates on the SLX DC, as usual, seem to change every day. I've heard that they'll be available by the end of July, but also Tackle Warehouse shows that availability will be around November. Now of course I put in my pre-order, and I'll be sharing what this reel is all about with you guys when I get it. So apparently Shimano is going all in with this SLX lineup, because up next is the stunning SLX XT, a reel that was originally introduced for the Southeast Asian and Australian market to replace the now discontinued CASITAS, and it's made its way over here to North America. Now the good news is that they kept the styling exactly the same, so that means you are going to get the two-tone black frame with dark gray side plates color scheme, the blue accents, and then the chrome trim on the nose piece, as well as the chrome knob end caps. Now personally, I think the SLX XT is the best looking reel in Shimano's current lineup. It looks a lot more expensive than it really is. Now speaking of price, remember how I said that I think that, well, I should say that I thought that Shimano was going to rebadge this reel as the new CITICA and will price it at $129 to kill off the DAIWA TATULA CT. Well, it looks like I got 1 out of 2 right. Now apparently the CITICA name has been discontinued, so I got that part wrong, but I did get the pricing part right. So at $129, it's priced exactly the same as the DAIWA TATULA CT. And I'll bet DAIWA is pissed because their TATULA CT is their best-selling reel. Now I bought an SLX XT a few weeks ago by importing it off of eBay, and I paid about $120 for mine. So at only $9 more, I think it's worth it to buy domestically and get that domestic warranty. So basically, you're going to take a standard SLX, add one extra bearing, make it look 10 times better, and then more importantly, add the super adjustable SVS Infinity brakes. Now if you're interested in this reel, I have made I think a couple of videos about it already, and one of them is showing how the SVS Infinity braking system gives the XT a casting advantage over the standard SLX. So go check them out. Now the release dates for the XT look to be roughly the same as the DC model. So Shimano was really showing their competitors no mercy with the introduction of these two SLX reels. Okay, so up next is a reel that is sorely needed in Shimano's current lineup. That reel is the new KSB. Now I say it's sorely needed because Shimano currently has a big hole in its lineup for baitcasters under $100. This KSB is going to retail for $79, and it looks to be just a slightly upgraded version of the last KS. I think it's going to sport the latest VBS brake system like the one in the SLX, but this one picture I found shows an external dial of some sort, so that's kind of confusing. And it looks to have a longer handle as well. Now where it's not an upgrade in my opinion is the looks. I think the old KS with its gold accents looked a lot better. To me, it's kind of like a half-hearted attempt to catch some sub $100 market share from Shimano. I don't know how it's going to do though, because the competition at this price point is really fierce. You have rival mainstream companies like DAIWA with multiple reels under $100 with their C80 series. I know Quantum's got quite a few, and I think LEWS has quite a few. Then you have the heat coming from non-mainstream companies like KASTKING and PISCIFUN. So in any event, Shimano North America has updated the KS, and it's currently their most affordable baitcaster. Okay, so now on to the spinning reels, and we're going to start with the winner of the best saltwater reel, and that is the STRADIC FL. So basically that means that the STRADIC FL is designed for both freshwater and inshore saltwater use. And from my research, it looks to be a pretty significant upgrade over the previous STRADIC FK. Now the major improvements are a full metal frame and stem. Now apparently the old model had a graphite stem with a metal frame, and the next two features are only found in Shimano's two highest end spinning reels, the STELLA and the Vanquish. Those two features are micro module 2 gears and the silent drive feature for a smoother and more refined cranking feel. Now the final two notable features are going to be the long stroke spool and the X-Protect. Now these are significant upgrades, but the price actually stays the same, starting at $199. Now I was hoping for a new STRADIC CI4, but I guess that's going to come next year. Now the next reel is the Spheros saltwater reel, and to me it looks like a saltwater version of the Nazi. Now this reel has a metal frame and is only priced at $120. Now previously, to get a metal frame spinning reel from Shimano, you had to spend at least $200 on the STRADIC. So this Spheros shows us that Shimano was feeling the heat from reels like the DAIWA BG, which is similar in price but had a metal frame. And this is a perfect example of how stiff competition benefits the consumer. So the last reel is the super budget friendly Sienna FG. Now this reel comes in at only $30, so that puts it in the same price category as most reels you're going to find at Walmart. Now I wonder if it will be any better than those reels that you can find at Walmart. But yeah, the Sienna FG is going to be the most affordable Shimano spinning reel currently on the market. Now the release dates for these are once again unknown. I think the STRADIC FL may be out already, but these other two, you know, the dates on Tackle Warehouse are constantly changing. So basically, if you're in the market for one, you're just gonna have to keep checking regularly to see if they've come out yet. Okay, so keeping with the budget theme this year at Icast, Shimano introduced a couple of rods us bass anglers might be interested in. Now the first rod is the new Intenza line, and that's a pretty interesting name. Now just like the SLX rods from last year, these rods have a styling that looks totally different than anything else in Shimano's current lineup. It looks to be silver, black, and red. Now I can see that it shares the same reel seat as the SLX, but it has a slightly more aggressive forenut. Now the blanks are 30-ton graphite, and it will come with what they call ultimate aluminum oxide guides. So I'm not sure what the difference is going to be from regular aluminum oxide guides, but we'll have to find out. Now the most interesting feature of the Intenza rods, in my opinion, are the grips. Now Shimano is using what they call G alpha grips, which is something similar to the wind grips that some rods use, and basically it looks like it's going to be made of foam but have some kind of texture coating on the foam. Now these rods are priced from $130 to $150 and will come in several lengths, powers, and actions. Now I find these rods interesting, but I'm gonna have to handle one in person before pulling the trigger and trying one out. Now hopefully my local Bass Pro shops will stock them. Now Tackle Warehouse shows the release dates as being in late November, but don't be surprised if they come out sooner than that. Okay, so for those of you who are fans of baby blue rods, then you may be interested in these new Seles rods. Now these appear to be replacing the white Seles rods. They're going to have a 24-ton graphite blank and be priced the same as the old models, starting out at $50. And I personally think it's an improvement in looks, and Shimano seems to have noticed that flashy colors attract a certain type of consumer, and they are definitely targeting those consumers with these rods. So basically no high-end tackle released at this Icast this year from Shimano, but if you remember, they introduced the Antares A and the new Poison Adrena rods at the Bassmaster Classic. Now just a heads up, I'm finishing up a pretty interesting video on the Shimano X Pride A rods that you don't want to miss.